For the past 2 years, Jocko Fuel has been the only supplement I've consumed. It's helped me stay in shape now that my competitive career is finished. If you've been waiting to try Jocko, the wait is over. Jocko has now teamed with Walmart, bringing clean fuel to the entire nation. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all the good stuff and none of the bad. And I'm talking no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. Jocko Fuel is now available in Walmart nationwide. Products available at your local Walmart are Jocko Malt, ready to drink, Jocko Malt powder, and Jocko pre-workout. How convenient. Guys, the time is now. Consider trying some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. You can even do it online. Use code CHAEL30 at JockoFuel.com or just stop by your local Walmart and get your hands on some Jocko ASAP. Don't wait, might not last. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Now there's no excuse for not having clean fuel. Guys, I want you to go get Jocko Fuel today at Walmart. I caught myself on the campus of ESPN. I was in the actual headquarters of the worldwide leader. I'm in the hallway and I'm about to walk in. I'm with Gilbert Melendez, breaking down and deciding what I'm going to say about Jon Jones. Jon had just fought OSP. It was the worst Jon had ever looked, by a lot. It was the slowest and the sluggish. He got tired. He didn't force himself. It was the worst performance that Jon had ever had, and he won every second of it. And he won every element of it. Better hands, better feet, better wrestling, better knowledge, better athleticism. He won every single part of a world title fight over an accurate and correct number one contender in OSP, underperforming. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to go on there and I'm going to explain this to the world and tell them that he was chosen by God. God chose him. He put a special, he smiled and shined upon him. And I have to catch myself with Gilbert and realize that is not a professional analysis. And I swear to goodness, when I watched Jon tonight, who's been on a layoff, Jon's been out 3.5 years. The layoff affected Michael Chandler, who's the same age as Jon Jones. Oh, by the way, Chandler was out half the time. It affected Stipe, who, by the way, is a couple of years older than Jon, but not in real years, right? I mean, lawsuits, hard drugs, and cage fighting will age you more than the average person. Stipe and Jones are the same age. And it did affect Stipe, but it didn't affect Jon. Nothing ever affects Jon. Could you imagine how good Jon Jones would be had he come at this from a different approach, that of discipline, that of lifestyle outside of the ring? Now, that's a double-edged sword, and some guys get so focused they lose it. Sometimes you stay in the game and you stay longer. You're Dennis Rodman. You're Jon Jones sometimes. But can we at least agree that if we apply the rules of logic, a focused and disciplined Jon Jones, could you imagine what he would be right now? There's no way he fought his best tonight. Again, logically, that's not possible. Changing weight classes, focusing more on your weight than your craft, having to break down all new guys. Jon's a heavyweight champion of the world. Stipe Miocic is a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. Jon is going in to defend a championship. Stipe successfully defended it more times than any other man. I mean, do you understand where the resumes, where it leans towards Stipe? And we did have a belief, and when you're looking at Jon Jones, there's multiple things to look for, and it's not just the outcome. I mean, that guy goes out, he wins every fight, so you're looking for different things. Can he out-wrestle this guy? Can he outbox this guy? Going into the fight with Stipe, we did believe, and I'm talking, we is the locker room, the boys, did believe that Stipe was stronger in one area, which was the pure Western boxing. The kicks, okay, we knew would be a problem. And let me explain why. Is Jon Jones a great kicker? Sure. But Stipe, unlike any other opponent, has never dealt with those kicks. The greatest kickboxer Stipe has ever faced in his career, by a factor of double, is Alistair Overeem. The most decorated and accomplished, with the hands and the feet together, is Alistair Overeem. But Reem is going to smash you. He's going to bring a really big left hand and a really big right hand, and he's going to kick you really hard with an outside kick that might go to your body, very unlikely to come to your head, and is probably going to go to your leg. Jon Jones is going to teep you. Jon Jones is going to dig his big toe right into your gut. Jon Jones, if he wants to, will kick you low just to distract you for the pleasure of it. He'll hit you with a flip kick, he'll hit you with a spinning kick, and as you saw, he'll even hit you with a spinning kick to the liver where he can't even see you. He can't even see the target. He turns his back, right? That's how spinning kicks work. He turns his back. Stipe brings his leg up. He brings his elbow down. Did you guys notice that? Let's say this is the leg and this is the elbow. There's about 3 inches that weren't protected. Jon's foot diameter is about 3 inches. Jon, while backwards, not seeing his opponent, sends his foot through the 3-inch gap and sinks Stipe's liver. And that is a paralyzing blow. And I'm using that term, Oscar De La Hoya had used it. He went down to Bernard Hopkins. That was stopped with a shot to the body, but it will paralyze you. That liver, that thing flips upside down. You're in all sorts of trouble. And Stipe wasn't done fighting. He wanted to fight. He goes down. I mean, it crumbled him. But he was still trying to look up. He was trying to sell himself, get up. Like there was no quit in Stipe. It was a very good Stipe. I think I tell you that because I don't like the idea that, Father Time's undefeated. Yeah, thanks for that, but that's not what happened to Stipe tonight. Stipe did not lose to Father Time. He didn't lose to a layoff. He lost to Jon Jones. That's what beat Stipe tonight. That was a very good Stipe, but he had to deal with tools that he's never had to deal with. There has always been a perception that bigger is better. That's always been a perception. But throughout the history of boxing, wrestling, and now MMA, we've always seen that the smaller guy, the guy from one weight class below you, is harder to beat. Guys going for champ status that failed were the guys that came from higher weights down. TJ Dillashaw comes to mind. He's coming down. Guys that achieve champ status are the guys from a lower weight that move up. And Jon Jones is not a heavyweight. Jon Jones is fighting at heavyweight. So the tools that Jon possesses are just unlike anything Stipe's had to deal with. So we can go into training camp and he can bring in some athletic guys and he can have them throw that at him. And training camp can turn from 8 weeks into 52 weeks. It doesn't change the fact that the only time Stipe's ever worked on the defense of those kinds of techniques in a best case scenario would have been training camp. He never saw those thrown at him. And every time Jon threw a kick tonight, Stipe was a sitting duck. Every time Stipe just defended. Okay, let me take as much sting off this while I'm absorbing it as I can. Stipe did not counter. Stipe did not attempt to wrestle at all. I'm not being hard on Stipe, by the way. I'm telling you what Jon can do to guys. I can't remember the last time somebody tried to take Jon Jones down. I'll throw myself into it. I never got around to it. Jon was busy coming after me, but I never tried to take him down. Daniel Cormier wanted him down, but didn't really try. OSP never tried. Alexander Gustafsson didn't really try. It wasn't part of Dominic Reyes's approach. Thiago Silva. I mean, you go right on through the list. Ciryl Gane and now Stipe, who happens to have great takedowns. He didn't even try to take him down. Maybe that's a clue. Maybe that's something that opponents should look at. I notice the word that I'm using, try to take him down. The threat of a takedown is more effective and more consequential in MMA than getting the takedown. The threat of it, because now that's all of a sudden what will change your opponent's striking. The reason we will see great strikers come to MMA and get knocked out fast by non-strikers is because the threat of the takedown. They never actually do it. They make the guy worry. Jon Jones is not worried at all. Rashad didn't try to take him down. I'm bringing up good wrestlers from Jon's past. And maybe that's a clue. Maybe that's something we should really look at. It was hard to watch tonight juxtapose Pereira being in there and Pereira being able to deal with that. It was hard to do. You may have a different opinion. My partners at DraftKings have already come out with a line, and Jon is a 6-1 favorite over Pereira. Does that surprise you? Because it does me. That seems a little much. Meanwhile, my partners at DraftKings came out with a line with Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is a favorite over Jon Jones. Does that surprise you? And if Tom is going to beat Jon, I would ask you how. Do you believe he can out-wrestle him? I asked Tom that question tonight. And I said, would you at least offer the threat of the takedown? Are you watching Jon? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are you thinking I'll at least test the waters of a takedown? And Aspinall did say yes. He said, yes, I saw everything. I thought I could do everything to him. And Aspinall was a gentleman. He said, I could be wrong. I would have a plan. My plan is very different than Stipe's. I believe my plan will work. I could be wrong. But it's interesting. How good that guy is very difficult to explain. And if you think you're going to convince me that was a downed Stipe, how does that not wash with a downed Jon? Whatever Stipe went through, Jon went through it plus injury. Jon was the lesser prepared of the two tonight if we're just using basic logic. I don't think any of you, no matter how big of a fan you are, could tell me the gym that Jon trained at. In fact, I know you can't. You don't know the name of the gym. Last thing we heard about Jon in the gym was Jon got kicked out of his gym. And we never fully heard where he ended up. And I only bring that to you just by example. I mean, if you think Stipe went through some stuff coming into this fight to explain the performance, it was actually a very good performance. Jon is that much better. And that's the reality. And does he draw into Aspinall? Yeah, I think so. Jon started to publicly negotiate. He said, I just want to be paid for the fight. And it's always a mistake when it's done publicly. It's always a mistake. And Jon's check for that, just based on the contract he has now, which has no limit. Whatever pay-per-view is sold is a ching, 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 ching. I believe that's the biggest fight that our industry has. It's certainly the biggest heavyweight fight that our industry has ever had. And the ceiling for Jon's payout isn't capped. I believe that if Jon went into this fight with Tom, exactly the contract he has now, I believe he would receive the biggest payout in UFC history. We'd only know. That would be up to you guys. But that's how I feel about it. And I do feel that you're witnessing, again, what we forgot, but we did know to be true, which is Jon Jones is the greatest talent this sport has.